When people think about reducing disease risk, they often imagine complicated diet plans, strict rules, or expensive superfoods. Nutrition advice can feel overwhelming, especially when headlines constantly change. But according to the World Health Organization, one of the most effective ways to lower disease risk is surprisingly simple, and it doesn't involve counting calories, cutting entire food groups, or following extreme diets. The eating habit the WHO consistently highlights is making minimally processed foods the default choice most of the time. This may sound obvious, but its impact on health is far greater than many people realize. Across countries, cultures, and income levels, diets built around foods closer to their natural form are associated with lower risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, obesity, and certain cancers. This guidance reflects decades of global research. Rather than focusing on individual nutrients like fat or sugar alone, the WHO now places stronger emphasis on overall dietary patterns. The evidence shows that what people eat repeatedly, day after day, matters more than occasional indulgences or short-term dietary changes. Minimally processed foods include vegetables, fruits, whole grains, legumes, nuts, seeds, eggs, fish, and simple home-prepared meals. These foods tend to contain fiber, protein, and naturally occurring nutrients that support the body's ability to regulate blood sugar, appetite, and inflammation. When these foods form the foundation of the diet, the body functions more predictably and efficiently. In contrast, diets dominated by ultra-processed foods show a very different pattern. Ultra-processed foods are typically packaged, ready-to-eat products designed for convenience and taste. They often contain refined starches, added sugars, industrial fats, and additives. The WHO highlights that high intake of these foods is consistently linked to higher disease risk, even when calorie intake appears similar. One reason this habit is so powerful is that minimally processed foods work with the body's natural signals. They digest more slowly, promote fullness, and reduce large swings in blood sugar. This helps prevent overeating without relying on willpower. Over time, this stability lowers strain on the metabolic system and reduces chronic disease risk. Another important aspect of this habit is its flexibility. The WHO does not promote a single global diet. A healthy eating pattern can look different depending on culture, tradition, and availability. What matters is not specific foods, but the degree of processing and the balance of the overall diet. This approach also helps explain why many people feel frustrated despite trying to eat healthy. Foods marketed as healthy are often still highly processed. Even if they are low in calories or labeled as natural, they may not support long-term metabolic health. The WHO's guidance cuts through this confusion by shifting attention away from marketing claims and toward food quality. The simplicity of this habit is what makes it effective at a population level. You don't need perfect meals or strict rules. You need a default pattern where most meals are built around real foods. Occasional processed foods do not undo this pattern, but when processed foods become the norm, health risks rise steadily. The WHO also emphasizes that this habit works across the lifespan. From childhood through older age, diets rich in minimally processed foods are associated with better growth, healthier aging, and lower disease burden. Another reason this habit lowers disease risk is its effect on inflammation. Many chronic diseases share a common inflammatory component. Diets high in fiber, plant foods, and natural nutrients help reduce chronic low-grade inflammation, while diets dominated by ultra-processed foods tend to increase it. Importantly, the WHO's message avoids fear and restriction. It does not suggest banning foods or aiming for perfection. Instead, it focuses on default behavior. When healthier foods are eaten most of the time, the body can tolerate flexibility without harm. This makes the habit realistic and sustainable. This guidance also acknowledges real-world constraints. Time, cost, and access all influence food choices. The WHO recognizes that improving food environments is just as important as individual knowledge. Still, even small shifts towards simpler ingredients and home-prepared meals can meaningfully reduce risk. In practical terms, this habit might look like choosing whole foods when possible, cooking simple meals more often, and treating packaged convenience foods as occasional rather than routine. It does not require strict tracking or constant decision-making. What makes this habit especially powerful is that it works quietly. It doesn't promise rapid results or dramatic changes. Instead, it reduces disease risk gradually, steadily, and reliably. This is exactly how most chronic diseases develop and how they can be prevented. In a world full of complex nutrition advice, the WHO's message stands out for its clarity. Health improves not through extreme measures, but through simple patterns repeated consistently. Making minimally processed foods the foundation of your diet is one of the most effective ways to protect long-term health. If you want more science-based explanations without hype or confusion, feel free to follow along. Sometimes the most powerful health advice is also the simplest, and that's exactly why it works.